So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Well, hello there, Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. I just realised, Paddy, we're both wearing podcast branded stuff, as if we're. It kind of feel like a full kit wanker here. Wearing a podcast jumper, but I didn't even notice it. But we're here today to talk about, not about merchandise, but we're here today to talk about Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. And what I can only imagine, if it's anything like Ireland in Birmingham today, is an unbelievably lovely, sunny spring day. And hopefully Aston Villa have a lovely, sunny spring performance today to give us a little bit of a buffer zone ahead of Manchester United, who also play today. A game that I was supposed to be at, Manchester United and Fulham, would you believe? But that's a story for another day, maybe if we've time after this. Paddy, how are you feeling this morning about this game?
I am on the fence. I hope that there is a spring in the step of our players and not in theirs. I am obviously worried, as we said in the team sheet TANTRUM or the preview, about the front four and how they've been set up to catch us on the break, whereas previously under Cooper they were set up to not concede. And it's going to be completely different today. Looking forward to it, mind you. I really rate Nuno as a coach. I don't think he was given enough time in previous positions. And I think like the likes of Wolves are only getting back to what they were under him at the moment. So he's a good coach. He'd probably do enough, even with a 10-point deduction, if that ever comes around. He'd probably do enough to keep Forest out of the relegation zone. And I can see them pushing on for many years in the Premier League under him if they back him and look after him.
Yeah, he's a really, really good appointment for them. And I was always a fan of Steve Cooper. Still am a fan of Steve Cooper. I just think he's a right proper coach, and a lot of people who play under him have very good things to say about him. Probably the face didn't fit with like Nottingham Forest's ownership. Like Steve Cooper was being sacked for almost like the last 18 months, and it was probably always coming for him. But as you say, they've gotten in Nuno, and Nuno is a really, really good appointment for them. Once again, you go back 18 months and Forest wouldn't have had a hope in hell of getting Nuno. Villa probably wouldn't have had a hope in hell of getting Nuno 2 years ago. But then as we say in every role or in everything about football it moves quickly. And it's moved quickly into the situation where Aston Villa were obviously able to get Unai Emery, and Nottingham Forest now were able to go away and get Nuno Espirito Santo as well. And as you mentioned yourself as well, they have some really good players. Whatever happens with the financial fair play stuff is obviously something that's going to happen, and we'll find out about that pretty soon. But as I say, today's game specifically, I'm a bit chipper about it today. I don't know what it is. As I said in the preview, I look forward to this game because it's two proper English footballing teams with heritage and history and tradition and everything about them. And I like when we play teams like that. I think there's something that should be protected about that, obviously. But from an actual footballing point of view on the field today, I think we're going. I think Villa are going to win. I think that this could be another kickstarter for running, because we kind of need to. And our backs are against the wall to some degree at the moment. And when that's happened under Unai Emery, we've always come out punching. So I don't expect today to be any different.
Yeah, it's by no means a given. I listened to a Not Forest podcast yesterday. They're fairly upbeat, despite the fact that they haven't exactly been piling on the points as such since he came in, but they're upbeat about how they're playing. They're very dangerous on the break, and they're upbeat about coming to Villa Park. And I think their first goal is vital. That statistic of us only losing one game from a winning position, or only dropping 3 points from a winning position all season, needs to be something that we buy into. Yeah, Manchester United. So if we can carry on scoring the first goal for the rest of the season and keep that record, we'll be there or thereabouts, and there'll be nobody catching us. But look, the first goal is vital here today, because we know that with what they have at their disposal, they're well able to take two of those top guys off and see this out for a 1-0 win if they need to. So fingers crossed we can get out and score early and give them the work to do. And hopefully if we do score early, I think we'll push on and win the game 2-0. I haven't even seen the team. I haven't even seen the team at this stage, and I'm saying that.
Yeah, and it's not like you, Paddy. You usually do wait to see the team, so you must have had something extra in your coffee this morning. But I watched a few Forest podcasts as well. There was one in particular where I watched where, I don't know why I watched it. It was like chewing gum for the mind. And when I saw it was a guy doing combined 11 discussion, I have no idea why I left it on for so long. Specifically when he said the full Forest back four were better than the Villa back four. At that stage, I should have really just turned it off. Considering that they've conceded the 5th most goals in the Premier League this season, Villa have conceded the 16th most goals in the Premier League this season. It boggled my mind. But one thing that I did see on another Forest podcast was that their top man Ewanee is going to be, or is potentially out today. He was carrying some sort of an injury. He was touch and go. If he's out, I think that's a huge piece for Aston Villa, given that their striking department is obviously I don't know, they must have about 70 players at this stage, so they'll probably, I don't even know who would come in that instance, but he's obviously the man on fire, and we're going to see in a couple of moments, I suppose, if he is the man that they are able to name up there today. But that would be a huge boost for Aston Villa if he was out. Another person they said may not be there is Danilo may not be favoured today, and they might bring in Yates in there in that 6 pivot again to try and be a bit more or a bit more industrious, should I say, inside there, because Danilo is pretty defensive. But so they're two of the things I'll be looking for from a Forest point of view. From a Villa point of view, I think we'll probably stand pat on what we had previously. And look, we're going to see in a couple of seconds, I suppose, once the team sheet is announced.
Well, I'll tell you who starts if he doesn't start, and that's Divock Origi. And Divock Origi is well able, as we know, to really put us to the sword. So I think no matter what happens, we're going to be under the cosh down the left, down the right, and with that threat in the box. Divock Origi obviously more of a fox in the box than Toyo is. So they've got plenty there to go and give us untold problems. But the team is out.
And here's our team. Here's our team with Emi Martinez in goals, Cash, Longley, Powell, Alex Moreno, Bailey, McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Jacob Ramsey, Tielemans and Watkins. Nice and boring. No tantrums here today. Exactly the same team as we expected, I suppose. Bench looks not to be changed either. You've got Gucci Gang, and Olsen as our customary 2 goalkeepers I think one sits in the other one's lap to keep him warm, I think, during the match, and then they alternate or something along those lines. That's the only reason for having 2 goalkeepers on the bench, I think. Digne, Chambers, Diaby, Zaniolo, Rogers, Kane, Kessler, Hayden, and Tim Irogbunum. To my money, Paddy, we're not missing anyone even off that bench. I think it's like there's absolutely zero surprises there, so we might as well just roll up the podcast and go home, I think.
You're not getting away that easy, Neil. Hangover or no hangover, you're not getting away that easy. Yeah, look, there's no tantrum there whatsoever. I think I said in the preview, the only thing that wouldn't surprise me is if Dean came in for Moreno. But changing a winning team, despite how much he likes to be a progressive manager, I think that's always in the back of his mind, that when a team plays really, really well and there's very little to complain about, then you don't change it. And I think he's always been that way. So unless something is enforced, he doesn't change it. So I'm happy with that, very happy with that. And I stand over my previous, as expected, it was going to be the team that's there, but I do stand over us going to win this game 2-0, and fingers crossed for that main man in the picture there to get a clean sheet and make life a little bit easier for us.
Do you know what? I'm really hoping we see Morgan Rogers for a concerted period of time today, regardless of results or anything like that. I think if we were to silo that for a moment, I just the more I see him on the team sheet, I'm going, yeah, and we know that Unai Emery has a penchant to drip feed players into the squad, specifically when they're younger players, and maybe seen as project players like he did with Duran previously. but I'm a bit excited about him. I'm more excited now on that bench. I would be more excited to see Morgan Rogers come off the bench than I would Ken Kessler-Hayden or young Tim. And I don't know why. I suppose like any of the three of them are exciting. Don't get me wrong, but like the Rogers thing was a kind of a bolt from the blue, and towards the end of the deadline, and we got it done. And you know he's come in. He seems to look like a really grounded, a really level-headed young man. Very decent, really nice build, nice stature, nice ability, and it'd be nice to see it within this team. So I'm hoping we get to see him for 15-20 minutes in this game today. That would be nice as well. Let's take a little look and let's see if we can find the Forest team. One of the things, so for everybody there, you anybody who watches the podcast, you will know that my spelling is never the greatest, and I will never not spell Forest with 2 R's. Okay, so just bear with me on that one. I always spell it F-O-R. I don't know. It's like James Forrest, like the player. He spells it with 2 R's. Anyway, the start. Look at this crack.
Jesus, yeah.
Making me click into a link.
Fucking mess.
Jesus.
Anything could happen when you click in here.
And there's no. That's my lineups. Here we go. Starting lineup is at least the decency to put it in positional order as opposed to numeric, and their main man does start up top. Matt Sells in goals, Nico Williams, Felipe Murillo, and Nikate in there. So that's really interesting, I suppose. Looks like Felipe is going to be pushed out to the left back role with Williams playing the right back role. Murillo and Nikate in there. Nikate had a brilliant game against Villa in the previous game, if I remember rightly. He was really good. Dominguez and Danilo will hold down in the midfield area with Elanga, Gibbs White, and Hudson-Odoi just in behind Ewani in there too. Their bench looks like Matt Turner, Chekwate, Henry Toffolo, Gio Reyna, Yates, Origi, Montiel, Obama Daly, should I say, and Rodrigo Ribeiro. It makes up their bench. That's a really talented bench they have there as well. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Oh, you guys are only just seeing Twitter. Sorry, let me remove that because of you can blame Forest. You can blame Forest because it's their fault. It's absolutely their fault for making me have to click into another link. So that is their team. Their Sells, Williams, Felipe, Murillo, Nikate, Dominguez, Danilo, Elanga, Gibbs White, Hudson-Odoi, and Ewani. They have the Villa lineup as well there as well. Just actually, no, do you know what? I take it back, Forest. This makes my life an awful lot easier, so I can flick between the two here now. I take it back.
Yeah.
And
well, I suppose the main talking point in that team is I get it. I can't say his name, but Toyo is his first name, isn't it, up front? So I think if there was any possibility he was going to be ready, he would start. And they dropped, I presume they dropped Nuno Tavares. I didn't see you mention him on the bench, did I?
He's not on the bench, no.
He's not on the bench either. And I think from listening to that Forest podcast, I think they're happy that he's not playing. So he seems to be the token scapegoat that we always have. Every club has, and he's the one at the moment. So he's not in there. So that'll give their support a little bit of a boost, if not the players.
I think so too. Yeah. It'll, but look, and I know before I say this, that people say, but our left back is really important to the way we play. But you know, how important is their left back going to be today? We will see. You know, he's going to be coming up against Leon Bailey. I suppose that's probably the reason why they've gotten a bigger guy out there in Felipe, somebody with all that experience as well, you know. And look, I've said this about this Forest team before. Like, I was talking there about football being a funny game every so often. Like Danilo and Dominguez, like genuinely eyebrows raised that the two of them signed for Nottingham Forest, and arguably Felipe as well. Eyebrows raised that he signed for Forest along with Callum Hudson-Odoi. You know, so they've done some really good recruitment here, and they've got some really good established players in there from from all over the continent, and this is going to be a tough game today. But like you, Paddy, I'm going with an Aston Villa. I'm going with a 2-1 win for Villa today at home. The elusive clean sheet again. We haven't had enough of them this season in comparison to last season, but I don't really care as long as we're scoring goals. And I think I'm going to go with 2-1 for Villa today.
Fair enough. I'll take that all day long. Any type of win, I think, is important. If we allow them back into the game, we could end up with a lot of goals here today. But if that's the case, if we've got to win 4-3 or 3-2, so be it. I really don't care how the results come now. We just need to grind out every result that we can get 3 points in, and this has to be one of the ones we get 3 points in today. We've home advantage. We've a decent team out there. Nothing stupid. Hopefully today, no mistakes. Plenty of communication, plenty of fans getting behind the team, and hopefully come 5 o'clock today, we'll all be very happy.
Absolutely. Just want to say a massive thanks as well, Matt Hanlon. Thank you so much. Points for podcasters and a double espresso for the USA fans. Absolutely.
Cheers, Matt.
I went on a small bit of I suppose it was a rant this morning, just because Dougie Critchley, we've had him on the podcast a couple of times, and I love Dougie. He's just a very measured social media presence, and God knows there aren't enough of those around the place. But he had a post up about, you know, fans that go to games having an issue with fans that don't go to games, or maybe from foreign fans or fans that support that don't follow their local team, and had a bit of a rant about it on Twitter with regards to the silliness of it. And you know, it just goes to show that we've got like a ton of our fans that watch this podcast as well are not in Birmingham. A lot of them don't even have any ties to Birmingham, but they love Aston Villa just as much. And I want to point out to Matt. Matt is one of those guys. Being over in the States, really appreciate everything, Matt. You're a great supporter of the podcast, and I appreciate everybody who watches as well. And also, speaking of the States, Noel Cunningham is on flight EI 111 to JFK, 2-0 to the Villa, he says, and up the Villa. Yeah, Noel, I've notified passport control as well. I'd say you're going to be on the way back as soon as you get over there. So, them's the breaks, buddy. Them's the breaks. Right, so guys, start putting in your scores into the comments there, and we'll start reading them out. I suppose one thing, Paddy, I did a piece on the referee, and do you think I can find it? No, I can not find it. I did a tweet in him. Yeah, I can't remember what it. But I can't find it. It's in my timeline. Samuel Barrott, yeah. Bardot, is it? Or Barrett? I don't know. I can't find it anyway, and my mind is only half.
Barrett would have know, I think, is the thing. We know nothing about him. We've got another newbie this week, and hopefully we won't have to talk about him at 5 o'clock today, because I've a pain in my face talking about referees. And lots of people that listen to this podcast have a pain in their face listen. Some of them love it, some of them hate it. I particularly prefer to be happy about a victory than worrying about what a referee is going to do to us. So let's score early, score often, and not have to worry about what this referee is going to do to us.
There's the tweet. I found it. Samuel Barrott, referee for this weekend's clash with Nottingham Forest. He ref Forest Luton earlier on this season. That ended 2-2. Averages 3.45 yellows per 90. In Premier League only this season, he's had 5 home wins, 3 draws and 3 away wins. So nothing really of note. I spent a long time trolling through Google to see was there even anybody that was mildly disconcerted by him. He seems to be a pretty middle of the road referee. So good, you know, as I say, middle of the road, stay in the middle of the field and do your job.
I'm just trying to figure out how this guy has refereed 11 Premier League games and I haven't heard of him.
Yeah. He has refereed 11 Premier League games this season.
Yeah, I spotted this. You didn't at the time. We'll put it down to your. Oh, I can't do the comments anymore. Can I not? Oh, there we go.
Did I call him Noel Cunningham?
You called him.
Who is Noel Cunningham?
We'll put it down to your hangover. Is he an actor?
Noel Cunningham, I don't know, but he's no Noel Connaughton anyway. I can tell you that. That's why passport control are going to be involved, because he's running under a fake passport. That's it. We've got you. We've you rumbled, Connaughton. We've you rumbled. I'm gonna get to things that will be less controversial. Well, I suppose they're going to be less controversial. We're going to get to some of the scores. We're going to start with Jordy Villan says 5-0 with Noddy hat-trick. Dave Styles 3-1. Adrian McKeever 4-2. 2-0 says Dan Downey. 2-1 says Andy Hilly. 3-2 Brazilian Villains. Sean Fitzpatrick is going 5-5 again. 3-0 says Presline Omar. Gaz Oaks going 1-1. Lena Peterson 3-2. Sniffrat 3-2. Aaron Cunningham 3-1. Not to be confused with the lesser known Noel Cunningham. Leon Plant 2-0. Reese 2-0. John Doran 3-1. Mark Brannigan 3-1. Martin McKeever 2-0. Bubblegum 3-1. Dermot goes with 2-1. Paul Miller 4-1. Audrey from her seat in Villa Park 2-0. Good to see you, Audrey, and shout your lungs out now when you're at that game, because it's going to make all the difference. Bob goes with 2-0. Techno Obliterator goes with 3-1. Matt Parker going with 2-0. Josh Dunn going with 3-2. Toy is going with 3-1. Shane Coleman going with 3-0. Gav Deese going with 3-1. Dave Stiles 3-1 again. Carol Beasley 7-1. Steve B going 5-2. Jared Corwin going 2-0. Jordan Levy 2-0. Villa. Spicy Pricey 3-0. Dave Dwyer 3-0. 1-0 Villa. 3-0 says Stephen Brown. 6-1 says John Steele, was supposed to be at today's game. IJL 1982 says 3-1. 2-0 says Michael Huggins. 3-1 says David Winter. 5-0 says Tom. Lily Tate is going with 3-1 Villa. 1-1 says Paul Cox. 3-0 Christopher Cummings. 4-3 says Cat Cannon. 3-0 Captain Nugget. Rex is going with 3-2. Carl Kennedy goes with 4-0. Cy goes for 2-0. 3-0 again Captain Nugget. Rona Ward is going 2-0. Joe Baran's going to be happy with a 1-0. I think everybody will. Richie Wise is saying a plucky 8-0 win, with Sourceout's going with 2-0. 2-1 says Dave Mack. 4-1 says Dave Morgan. Cash's converted wife says 12-2 to Forest, whereas Cash himself is going for 3-1. Spring
I
is
thought
going
the
for
GA
4-2.
score in there.
Yeah, so did I. Aston Church is going with 3-1. PK AVFC is supposed to be 2-1 to Villa, not 12-2. So we've got a confirmation on that one. PK AVFC says 3-1 Villa. Pedro's matchup is going with 1-0. Gav DC is going 35-4 to Villa. Dash's Wack Tolo is going with 2-0. 2-1, should I say? And that brings us to the end of our roundup. Game is on in 45 minutes, 46, I suppose, if you want to be pedantic about it. But we are in the 45th minute now. It's turned over. 45 minutes, the game will be on. Get yourself settled with your beverage of choice and with your snack of choice. And we will be back again with a post-match podcast, bang on the final whistle, where hopefully we will be talking about an Aston Villa win. Huge game today. And 3 points will be massive for our charge towards the top table of European football. We didn't even talk about the Ajax draw yet, Paddy, but we won't talk about it in this podcast. We might do it in the post-match if we're stuck for something to talk about. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a rain. Goals. Yeah, in the Villa Forest game today. So everybody, we're going to leave you and love you for today. We'll be back for a post-match podcast, and in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.